We were kings and queens before that. We still are. Tell the truth of our history so we know we're valued. How do we channel this energy? Where does this get redirected to? The trauma of seeing somebody die. Yeah. You know what I mean? The trauma of seeing somebody who looks like you die and know that they've been murdered because of the colour of the skin. Let's not play around. That is the reality of it. The way he was treated or mistreated, it was because he was a black man. So my name's Simone, and I'm an auntie, I'm a godmother, I'm a sister to beautiful black men.
I've been married now for 25 years to Baz. Most of since the children have been with us, we've always talked about racial issues, and we've always talked about their heritage of where because I had open conversations with both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law about what they went through when they first came to Britain through the Windrush generation. So, I've heard the stories. She's talked to me about it, the pain and what they went through, and discrimination they faced day in, day out. Do you know what I mean? It was just something day in, day out, they live with that. So what they've been through, and be able to then be open enough to understand what the struggles are here as well.
For my nephew, having to explain to him about your granddad went through exactly the same, both your granddads went through exactly the same. My dad was chased by grown men, skinheads, and to this day it still affects him, in regards to how he processes things, how he has to carry himself when he goes outside, how people look at him and perceive him as a black man. It wasn't long ago he was stopped and searched by the police, still experiences of that. So people are not realising this is an everyday occurrence for black people, but especially for our black men.
And the struggles continue to be here for people and young people. Baz talks a lot anyway about what he went through as a young black man growing up in London, in Harlesden, and he'd share himself about being taken into a police station and beaten up, and always being pulled over, and that's his life. That was his life. We've always talked to the kids openly about all of that, and trying to build a strong identity for them, that foundation that is solid of who they are, of being young black children in a British society.
I went to a Pan-African Saturday school where I grew up in the West Midlands, and we were taught about Marcus Garvey, Steve Biko. We understood about our blackness and the importance that our history is millions of years old, before slavery, and I think that needs to be represented within schools as well, so our young black men can see that it's not just footballers they can aspire to, it's not just representation of themselves, so their value and their self-worth is normal and natural. Teach them from a young age, be proud of being a black man. Don't allow people to make you feel you're less than because you're not, but also be aware that unfortunately how people view you and their perception of you, you're not in control of.
For us, it was really important to make sure they knew their identity. They identify with being black.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and that's a fantastic, amazing thing. It's not that they're not going to experience it.
Yeah.
I'd be a fool to say that it's not going to happen to them. I'd be a fool to say that everyone they meet is going to be open to them. It's not. That's not life. Do you know what I mean? And you have to kind of build up a strong identity in who they see themselves.
Definitely.
And that they're loved and they're accepted. And, most of our imagery that we had for the children growing up were books with black images in them, were toys where you make sure, you make a conscious effort to make sure their surroundings promote their, who they are.
But what we're looking at this moment in time is how our young black men are trying to navigate through life when they are constantly told they are shit, they're worth nothing. And it's, what's happening in America at the moment is amplifying that. It's going to have a long-term effect on people's mental and emotional well-being. It's traumatic. I know the trauma my dad experienced, and my granddad used to have to go down the docks to collect his wage when he worked on the ships with a big machete to protect himself from the white men that were trying to attack him, things like that. Imagine the anxiety, we can label these things now, the anxiety and stress that he experienced every time he went down there and how that possibly impacted on when he got home.
Oh, that had a massive impact on his life.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, talking to the black males in my life and my family, friends, cousins, let's talk about it. Let's release it in some kind of way. So you're not walking down the street and then someone says, "Oh, you got a chip on your shoulder," or someone pushes back there, and then for whatever reason, something could just happen and they end up getting into an altercation, or the police come along and they're frustrated, and as human beings, when we feel under attack, it's fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. Being black and Scouse is different on many levels. Do you know what I mean? Because the white women that married are, African grandfathers. My dad talks about the police spitting at my nan and calling her a lover and all that. And what they were raised as, you're black. Doesn't matter, because white society is not going to go, "Oh, because you got a little bit of white in you, or you got a white parent, we're going to see you different, or you have more privilege," in a sense. No, it's not, because to a racist, they just don't like us. For our brothers out there, that is every second of every single day. Do you know what I mean? They're just isolated things. Yes, get the microaggression and the racism every day. I just deal with it. But for our black males, this is a constant thing, and they wonder why they are perceived as being aggressive. Do you know what I mean? When you're constantly under attack, you're going to have your back up, support them in being able to channel that in a positive way. It comes internalized, and then it impacts on the mental health, and like you said, job opportunities and all those other things. It's a constant battle. But being black is such a beautiful thing. There's so much pride in our community, in our history, and that's what we need to be taught within schools. Or we need more Black Pan-African Saturday schools for Black and mixed race children. Because if we look at our counterparts, the Jewish community, the Asian community, the Chinese community, they have a solid sense of, they've been allowed to culturally bring their culture into this country and develop and thrive and grow and have businesses. Ours is being suppressed because it's been constantly told, "No, you shit, no, you can't do that," or it's being blocked.
A mother having that conversation with that child at such a young age that's experienced outright racism like people have done, and they are innocent, and you've got to, how do you word that to them? Difficult, but so painful as well. Say to them that this is life. This is something you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. There's always people with the wrong, that are going to think certain things, no matter what you try and educate and you try and, and they're not even worth arguing with. Upsetting to think that we've had to have conversations with them when they've been 4, 5, 6. My other family members that are married and got white children never have to talk about those issues.
The way we were brought up is, 1, you're a woman, 2, you're black, don't ever let anybody hold those things against you. And I believe that's built my resilience, my sisters, my younger brothers, because it's a constant dialogue. But it wasn't in a sense of, in a negative way. It wasn't fear-based. It was like, this is a sense of pride. Unfortunately, this is how people perceive you. You still go out and do what you need to do. Don't allow people to limit you in that way. I know for myself, the past few days, I've had to self-audit and go, right, what this anger, this frustration, mentally and emotionally exhausting. It is. And this is what our boys experience every single day. Education, 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 and instilling that value and that pride within our boys, within our community. I'm hoping the next generation, with the right instillment of love and a solid sense of self, will be able to further make those changes with white allies as well, with people recognising institutional racism and being able to pull up their own family members. It's an internal job and it's a community job,
Yeah, that's right. Baz has always said to them, the street doesn't raise you, we raise you here. You're not going out there, the street's not going to raise you. Do you know what I mean? So why are you going out there? What reason are you going out to hang out there? There's no reason.
Yeah.
Unless you've got somewhere to go. When you're looking at the riots now and what's happening now, nothing's really changed. Mm-hmm. We're still fighting the same fights. I'm still having the same issues. And you hear it, I'll never fully understand it. Do you know what I mean? I can empathise, obviously, and totally understand, but of picking up on things. And then I've become more aware of it as well, just being with him. You start to be more sensitive to it. That takes time, but we have to be more sensitive to it. to see change, don't we? Yeah.
They're saying, what can I do to make changes? How can I help in this situation outside of marching and protesting? How can I channel this anger? You know, it's anger, frustration, just disempowered is the biggest thing. Instilling self-love, self-worth, self-esteem into our young boys, having that reflected in society, not just by footballers or grime artists, even though they're amazing. I'm not disrespecting those artists at all. You know, positions of power we should be in to fight the system. We need to be a part of the system to make those changes. You know what I mean? We need to be a part of the system. And it's just encouraging my nephew, you know, my godson, my you know, and that starts within people's homes as well. You know, obviously you've done that with your own children. You know, Denise's mum's done the same. My parents have many people I know, and we just have to continue educating the next generation and challenging racist views and understanding where they come from and position of power. You know, you know, I cried. I know you've cried. We've all cried, and it's about, you know, saying to our young men, it's okay to cry as well. It's frustrating and it's hard, and as a black woman, it's my job to ensure that I allow them to express themselves, you know what I mean, to feel safe to express themselves, and encourage them to have that self-love. And it doesn't matter what the world tells you, what they think you are, understand and know yourself. And I think that's an important thing that we should instill in our young children from a young age.